Hey loves, so today I wanted to talk about something. I was actually sitting down. I'm gonna move my phone because lately when I've been filming, my phone has been interfering with this camera for some reason unless it's like on the floor, and I always get glitches. I'm convinced that is what happened in my haunted house story where my eye went all red. That was the scariest thing. Anyways, I was sitting down to film a few body sensitive topic videos, and I was taking suggestions from Snapchat when someone asked me, and I cannot remember for the life of me who it was, if I had heard about this, and I was like, no, so I obviously went and I Googled it. If you haven't already heard, there's someone who is like going on the UK subways and like across the UK and handing out cards that say fat, or like calling people fat, and then basically berate them for being overweight. One of the people who was involved in this even got like a card on the subway, and she like told the news she's not even like obese. She stated she was actually smaller than the national average, but that her real concern, because she said she wasn't really bothered by it, she said her concern was that it might harm people who already have like a negative image of their body and already have eating disorder trouble and stuff like that. This organization, which apparently calls themselves Overweight Haters LTD, this group of people is like trying to humiliate people that they find to be fat or whose bodies they don't find to be like acceptable by society's standards, and so they're handing out these cards. Just like this doesn't make sense to me, because if you're going up to someone and number one, they are bigger or they are fat in your eyes, and you're trying to insult and humiliate them by like giving them this card, it's just so gross. Like, I read this and it doesn't even necessarily seem that bad. Like, it's obviously gross, but I was sitting there like, this couldn't be that harmful. Wow, no, it really is. Like, this is such a public thing, and it's so mean to try to humiliate someone in front of other people. And though it's just like a card or whatever, I don't know if these people are like saying anything when they give out the cards, or I really don't know how the whole exchange goes down. There was a story about a girl who got one, I think it was at college or university or whatever, and like she like broke into tears. Like, she was so shocked that like someone would even do that. And it's just like, it blows my mind how mean people are, but also that people think that bigger people don't own mirrors, that we're not aware that we're bigger. I'm okay with calling myself fat, and I'll be talking about this in an upcoming video, but it's because I use that word as a descriptor for myself, because I don't want anyone else to feel like they have any power over me with it. I don't want anyone thinking like calling me that name is going to harm me in any way, because it's not going to. I also do refer to myself as plus size and curvy and a million other things, but you know, if someone is bigger, which obviously they're not even like sticking to bigger people necessarily, because one woman who got it was like below the national average, which actually, let me look that up and see what it is. I'm grabbing this from like a 2013 report, but it says that the average woman wears a size 16, which would be in the US a size 12. In the US, that equivalent is not even necessarily considered plus size. It is by like a lot of fashion brands, but usually I see a size 14 being where the like plus size sizing starts, and this woman is saying she's even smaller than that. So you're like talking about someone who is probably a lot smaller than most bigger women who might be struggling with their body besides, and they're seeing this, whether they're just seeing this on the news or whatever, they may be looking at this woman and thinking, well, if she got one of those, then like, what am I? I mean, it's just so freaking damaging to any human being to ridicule their body and to do it in such a cowardly way. Like, you can't even say it to someone's face. You can't even call someone fat, because you know that people around them would immediately come to their defense. Like, I cannot imagine a scenario where someone was publicly being ridiculed for the way that they look out loud, verbally, and people in like the immediate surrounding not standing up for them, or not, you know, like not doing something, because this is not a valiant attempt to bring awareness to obesity. This is not an attempt to shine light on health problems in overweight people. This is not anything but people being cowardly, but also wanting to shame people that are bigger. It is the worst of two worlds. And I've just never seen anything so blatantly just gross. I mean, there's nothing about this that is even remotely good, and nothing that could be perceived as good. And it just makes you really wonder, like, what they think they're trying to accomplish. There's no positive outcome here. There's nothing that they're doing that benefits people in any way, shape, or form. Body shaming is not proven to make people lose weight. In fact, it's been proven that it is, in fact, the opposite. A lot of people were talking about that with the whole Nicole Arbor thing, where it's just really obvious. Like, if you go to someone and you point out their biggest flaw for no reason whatsoever and do it in such a mean way, it's not going to change anything. It's going to make them feel awful. It's going to give them lasting effects on their self-esteem and their self-confidence. In a lot of horrible situations, it can make people view themselves in different ways, but it's not going to change anything for the better. And I'm pretty sure that people know this by now. There was a whole thing, and I almost made a video about it, but it just grossed me out. Like, I didn't know what I could say that no one else had already said, where it was that whole, like, Facebook group that was taking pictures of plus-size women and plus-size models and stuff like that, and they were, like, photoshopping them to make them look thinner. You know, it's that sort of a scenario where those people, it has to be so obvious that they're not going to do anything. They're just trying to knock other people down. A few months ago, I was in the UK for a project, and I was talking to this news station, which I've never seen the footage from that. I still don't know what channel it was on, where it aired, but I was talking to a news station because it was a plus-size fashion show event. Apparently, the UK doesn't have as much of a plus-size community. It's not nearly as accepting as it is in the United States. Body positivity is very, very much so the norm here. Well, it's becoming that anyways. Obviously, there are always going to be people who are like absolute assholes for no reason, but there's an infinitely more positive community, at least according to this person, in the United States than there is in the UK. So I thought that was interesting because I personally had never known that before, but you have to look at that and realize that body positivity, like I said, is becoming the norm. It is becoming more common for people to have a healthy self-esteem no matter what they look like, no matter their size. It's definitely just something that's becoming more frequent, and I think as we move forward in the coming years, it will become even more so. We live in a world where Tess Holliday is on the cover of People magazine, and where, I actually just found this out, Rebel Wilson is on the cover of Cosmopolitan, and you see this, and you see women who are bigger, who are actual role models, who are not just beautiful for a big girl or anything like that. They're considered beautiful women, and they're recognized for their talents. I mean, obviously it's not just that, it's everywhere, where people are not being looked at as their bodies hindering them in some way. And I think that people like this are really scared of that, and they don't want that to happen because they don't find it attractive, or they don't, you know, whatever it might be. They probably have something going on in their lives where they feel inadequate, and they just want to make other people feel inadequate too. And I think that's really all there is to it. And I just want to say to anyone, I don't know if any of my viewers out there have gotten one of these, but if you have gotten one of those cards, please, 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 please throw it in the trash, because that word does not define you. The good things that you've done in your life define you. Your beauty defines you. You are not your weight, and it does not determine your worth. And anyone in the entire world who could think that, I feel so sorry for people like this, because it is the only way to get past it. You can't look at these people and hate them. You can't necessarily know if you can try to reason with them. You can just feel really sorry for them that they have such awful lives that the only thing that they can do is try to make complete strangers feel like crap. They could think to do that is to ridicule someone's weight. All they got. Obviously, their brains are not very large. Obviously, their self-esteems are very low, and they're taking that out on people that they don't even know. Honestly, I just really hate the idea of anyone's self-esteem being damaged by people who are just so obviously very, very cowardly, and who are very full of themselves. Like I said, I genuinely do believe that body positivity and accepting yourself and being respectful of other people and understanding that your opinion has nothing to do with them. I like how I did the neck thing, like bishwit. And there are always going to be people like this, that there are still people who genuinely believe that their opinions trump all. What they find attractive should be the norm, and blah, blah, blah. And I just honestly honestly feel like if someone wants to talk about the health implications of being overweight, or if they genuinely feel like they want to help people, then they would actually do that. They would become a doctor or get into nutrition or study it and have something to back up what they're saying. But people don't do things like that. They call you fat and they run for their lives. I honestly used to make excuses a lot of the time for people who talked about my weight and who talked about me, or, you know, people in my life who said really mean things about my body because I thought it was coming from a place of care. But I know that's not true. I'm at a place in my life now where I eat more healthy than I have in my entire life. I actually eat super clean. I ran into some health problems earlier this year and I had to kind of change around my diet and just make better decisions for myself. And like I said, I've done a ton better this year and I eat really well. I do work out, I am active, and people would still make claims about me, about my health, about the way that I live because they see my body. So if I were to be handed this card, and even if there was some sort of medical information on it talking about how awful being fat is for me, it still would mean jack shit. Not everyone wants to or needs to lose weight, and it's not your place to decide that. It's also not your place to shame them. It's not your place to try to make them feel bad. It's not your place to judge their health based on their bodies. And I just think it's just gross, it's weird, it's entitled, and I just don't like anything about this. If you're gonna do the thing, then do the thing with a little bit of balls behind it, but this is just so weird. And I think I pretty much said all I wanted to, and I just wanted to talk about this. I'm in a body positivity talking mood tonight, and I wanted to talk about this before I made anything else because it's fresh on my mind. It's still really upsetting me, so I wanted to talk about it, and I just wanted to let all of you know, no matter what size you are, no matter what you look like, please don't let anyone else determine what you are, because you're not a singular word, you're not a singular descriptor, you are many things. And someone who can see one side of you and then give you like the equivalent grade of society, or I really don't know how else to explain this, just is so dumb. And that's all I can say. I love you guys so much. I will see you in my next video. If you did enjoy it, please give me a thumbs up, subscribe to my channel if you have not already. I will see you guys in my next video, and until then, please have an amazing day. Bye.